It'll be on page 34. So it'll be foolishness and Schadenfreude. And all right, let us begin. The blind passion of foolishness refers to a jealous, envious mind. We do not look kindly on those superior to us in talent, beauty, wealth, fame, or status. We nurse grudges at being passed over for a promotion, seeing a junior colleague get the limelight, or knowing our parents expect more from a sibling than they do from us. Hence the foolish mind takes secret pleasure in others' woes. The blind passion of foolishness is fiendish. It is the mind of one who tells the victim of disaster, "How awful for you," while inwardly smirking. Schadenfreude is a German borrowing defined as delight in others' misfortune. As the existence of this word shows, the ugly mind of foolishness is universal. Bita, would you like me to continue reading, or I can start the interpretation here?
Sure, yeah, you can start the interpretation here. Thank you.
Okay. So, what comes to mind when reading this passage is, especially when we talk about planting seeds, when we're planting seeds of jealousy and envy, for example, the telling the victim of disaster how awful for you while inwardly smirking, we would often think that saying the words "how awful for you" would be part of the seeds that are being planted, but that's only the outcome, as we've learned. So when we think about that smirk that we give off, that has its origin, and the cause usually is from a thought. And I think Bita and I talked about this maybe in previous sessions around drinking the poison and expecting the other person to die of it. So when we think of jealousy and envy, really we're just hurting ourselves along the process because we begin to plant those seeds through that poison within ourselves. So it's similar to when we think about eating fruits. The shell could be nice, right? People can work on themselves, can say quite nice things. But if the mind, the thoughts, and the emotions are not aligned or congruent to what we're actually saying, then really the inside becomes rotten. So even though the shell could be quite nice, it's really in the inside or that cause, the root that we want to focus on. And that's the first, that awareness that we start to cultivate. That's the first sign how we start to clean and cultivate our mind. And of course, in this, I share it's the mind, but also the heart. So they're all connected. So it's important to keep ourselves aware of where those thoughts come from, so that our shell can also align um, with our mind and our heart. And not saying we will completely become or be rid of foolishness, but it's the start, and we start to clear little by little, step by step, those parts of us or those aspects. So let us continue to cultivate awareness and to cultivate the cause of where those thoughts come from or those emotions might come from, so that we can continue to offer the light of Amida Buddha to people from its truest source, and so that it's not muddied or made unclean. That makes sense. So that's my interpretation, but I leave it open. I know Bita always has more to share, so uh, I leave it to you, Bita.
That was beautiful, Estefania. Thank you so much for sharing. I really loved your analogy of the fruit that has a shell, the outer shell and the inner core. So yeah, if the outer shell is beautiful, but the inner core that is not congruent with the outside, obviously something is off. So I think this is a very good place to start. Most people don't realize actually that the outer shell and the inner core are different. They don't have that awareness. Yeah, so raising our awareness by first and foremost, yeah, to make the shell presentable and clean and as nice and kind as possible. I think that's the starting point. Yeah, that's the starting point, because then we will begin to see, oh, there is some kind of incongruency here. How can I make my inside match the outside? And then we can work on the purification of the mind and heart. And instead of being jealous or resentful of other people's success or excellence, we can be happy for them only through awareness. Of course, it's the light of Amida Buddha that's bringing us that awareness. We get illuminated. Without that light, yeah, it's not possible. But yeah, so then the negativity changes into, yeah, being happy for people's success and excellence. And actually, someone was telling us how Jay Shetty quoted that in his book, Think Like a Monk. It's actually, there's a Sanskrit word for it by Buddha, to be happy for other people's happiness. It's the opposite of Schadenfreude. The opposite is, it's called mudita. It's Mudita, the Sanskrit word for being happy for the happiness of other people. This is, I think, very high level of virtue or character. Yeah, as we see in all TV dramas, soap operas, they are notorious for dragging people down and making ourselves go up the ladder of success. There are love triangles, even that they don't want, other women to go after the guy, or, all those things, or vice versa. All those dramas. So, yeah, it's caused by the blind passions, which we want to raise our awareness of, and then uh, transform them to mudita. Okay, I'm happy for the success of this person, because we acknowledge the law of cause and effect more deeply when we face the truth squarely with brutal honesty. If someone is a billionaire right now, they have been planting the seeds to own billions of dollars. I'm not saying that's a good or bad necessarily. It just depends what they do with all that wealth. But they had the cause to get that effect. When we are jealous or resentful of other people's success, we are denying or negating, we are destroying the law of the universe, and we make ourselves miserable. This is because bad causes produce bad effects. Yeah, and I think we keep suffering like that until we have no choice but to acknowledge the truth of the universe being the law of cause, condition, and effect. And that's when our spiritual journey begins, and we can make strides, big strides forward towards happiness that holds us fast, never to abandon us. So thank you again, Stefania, for holding today's meditation session, and good job everyone for being here. And yeah, have a beautiful Thursday.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Stefania.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you, Slovenia. Thanks for